My own guru used to say, simple living, high thinking. Keep your life simple, spiritual, so that you can spend time meditating on God.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us, I've watched in my 73 years, we have developed a crazy world. Everybody's distracted. Everybody's distracted and they're not happy. It's not that your LED television is better than the original one that never used to break down. So, you know, we have to have a life like I call it a spiritual sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
So do your spiritual work before you do anything else. That's going to put you in a nice consciousness. That's going to affect your day also. That's going to put you in clear consciousness so you can deal with the material stuff. And then my teacher used to say, have some spiritual practices at night. So it's called the spiritual sandwich. So the Vedas.
That's very good advice.
The Vedas are divided into 4. Sense enjoyment. We all need a certain amount of sense enjoyment. You know, we need a nice home, we need clothes, we need a partner. For that, you need economic development. There's a whole section of the Vedas on how to develop the economy, individually and nationally. And the Buddha said, this is a beautiful saying, if you can't do work that helps others, at least do work that doesn't harm others. So, for economic development, dharma, doing actions that are right, correct, right? You don't harm anybody. But the ultimate of everything, moksha, means liberation. The ultimate goal of this human body is to become completely God realized in this very lifetime so that you don't have to come back. So that's the deal. If you can get to the point, this is the idea of Bhakti Yoga, everything you do is a devotional action to God. So you're no longer in the world.
It's learning, right? It's learning your life. I write about that in my book, which is interesting, which ties into actually doing stuff with your chart. Because I feel like what happens is sometimes people may feel like everything's happening to them, one thing after another. They're getting pummeled, so they stay in that energy.
Yeah.
And then they can, let's say you're reading the chart and like, well, I understand why this is happening because you have all of these planets in this.
Yeah.
So perhaps it may give them some power or control if they knew ahead of time, maybe, to be able to counteract. Is there a way to counteract the karma? Is there a way to counteract the negativity? If I come to you with my chart and you're like, oh, wow, this is good, this is really what's going to happen. What would you suggest to someone to do that?
Number one, you got to make your life spiritual. You've got to do spiritual practices. The most powerful thing that's recommended in our day and age is the holy name of God. Doesn't matter what name. So, but the Maha, the greatest of all the mantras, the Hare Krishna mantra. So, ancient scripture, Srimad Bhagavatam, it's 5,000 years old. There's a verse. The holy name of God is so powerful that even if you unconsciously chant it, you can get rid of more negative karma than you can commit. So
Would that be the same as prayers?
Prayers.
Mantras?
The Catholics do their Hail Marys. The Muslims do their worry beads. Allahu Akbar. Yeah. Allah. You say Allah. It takes away karma. So actually there's and I believe this is what we call the Holy Spirit in the Bible. In the Vedas, the Holy Spirit is called Paramatma. The English for it is super soul. So you're the individual soul within the region of the heart. You're also accompanied every lifetime you go into a body by the Holy Spirit or the super soul. That is the all-pervasive aspect of God. The Vedas say the super soul is in the atom and between the spaces of the atom. That is the all-pervasive aspect of God. God is everywhere. And He's in the heart of the soul. So God knows everything about you, about Connie. He knows all your desires.
Oh boy.
He knows all your desire. He knows everything.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Verse in the Bhagavad Gita. I know everything that's happened in the past. I know everything that will happen in the future. I know everything that's happening at present. I know all living beings, but me nobody knows. But when you become a completely pure lover of God, you will see the super soul within. You'll see God within.
It's moving from fear to love, basically, instead of the ego and the fear and constantly being worried or stressed, and not when things are happening over and over, you feel like you're getting pummeled by life.
And that's because you're in the bodily concept of life. Once you get out of that bodily concept, and in the beautiful words of George Harrison, all things must pass.
Do you ever get mad? Do you ever get angry? Maybe you should ask Pamela this.
Yeah, you should ask Pamela.
I can't see you ever. I've known you for so many years, and I couldn't even picture you getting angry.
So circling back, going to when we were talking about you being a monk or prior to becoming a monk, I want to talk about the daily routines just briefly, about the consistency and endure, and what, as far as enduring things, but also what specifically caused you or made you think to even become a monk when you have all this freedom here,
right?
And now you're restricted. So what was that?
And frankly, going from a hippie, total wild freedom.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I've been reading that book I told you about, Perennial Philosophy. One day I'm in Amsterdam, I'm walking along the canal, thinking about all that knowledge, and I had this completely profound spiritual realization. And I absolutely realized that I'm not the body, I'm the soul. Consciousness is not a symptom of matter. No matter how much you mess around with the material energy, you will not produce consciousness. And the scientist hasn't done it to this day. Consciousness is a transcendental spiritual energy. So I realized I'm not the body, I'm the soul. Therefore, the purpose of my life is to find God. So that's what inspired me to become a monk. The whole regime of being a monk is to purify your consciousness of any kind of material concepts and to come onto the spiritual transcendental platform. That's the reason for being a monk. So the less bodily stuff you do, the less bodily pleasures you get into, the more refined the consciousness becomes, until you actually perceive, I'm the soul in this temporary body. So to that end, especially in India, we have yoga. Yoga. Hatha yoga that you might practice is actually what the yogi practices to put his mind in such perfect equilibrium and the body in such health, he doesn't have to worry about the bodily necessities of life. He could be living in a cave, little coping around his middle, and in the winter and the summer, and he's focused within on God. So that's why they came up with Hatha Yoga. But in my case, Bhakti Yoga, the yoga of devotion, from getting up in the morning to going to bed at night, you're doing nothing but serving God.
So you do mantras all day?
Mantras.
All day?
So no, not all day. Everyone's got, like in even Christian monasteries, everybody's got their job. I ran an ashram for a while. Also in India, cooked in the temples.
Why you cook so well. That's why I love coming over here with the food.
I actually cooked. I learned from, his name was Anand Maharaj. And Anand Maharaj, his whole generations had cooked in one of India's biggest temples, the Jagannath temple in India, where they do so many offerings to Krishna in the temple. So he was a god brother of my guru, and my guru said about him, he's so pure. From the moment he starts to chop up the vegetables, they're offered to God. Doesn't even have to put them on the altar. So he was a very And oh my gosh, what an amazing chef he was too, and so humble, so humble. So we got to learn off of him. A lot of the stuff I've forgotten, unfortunately. But he could, I don't know how many thousands of preps this person could cook.
It doesn't taste like that you've forgotten. It
Yeah.
tastes like you still remember. It's pretty good, but I love food. So
yeah.
I love
So
food.
anyway, you get up about dawn, early, a little bit before dawn.
So 4:30, 4:45?
Yeah, maybe 3:30.
3:30.
3:30. You get up. Usually you usually sleep 6 hours a night.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's about what I
6
get.
hours
I
a
can
night.
do that.
You get up, you bathe, because you can't go in the temple unclean. You have to bathe.
That's why I shower every morning right when I
Yeah.
get up, even before I work out.
Pamela's favorite saying from my guru: cleanliness is not next to godliness. Cleanliness is godliness. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So, and then they have a beautiful ceremony called Mangala. Mangala means auspicious. Arti. It's a worship where you offer incense and a flower and ghee to Krishna. A Mangala Arti. And it says that time of the day, up until around maybe 6:37, in India they call that time Brahma Muhurta. Brahma Muhurta means the time of God. It's the best time to meditate.
4:30 or 3:30?
Yeah, 4:30 to
4:30 to
7.
7.
It makes sense because then you start to hear the traffic going outside, and when everything's peaceful, that's the best time to meditate on God. And then everyone takes a breakfast. There's another worship ceremony, then breakfast, and then you go off and do your service, as they call it, whether it's sweeping the temple, going out, sharing the knowledge, doing the garden, milking the cows, all that kind of stuff. Me, I was always involved in, I was like the PR guy.
The PR, I could see, an actor, I can totally
PR,
see that, of course.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so anything to do with the public, arranging colleges, speaking programs for the swamis, festivals. We have lots of festivals. So it's doing like what everybody else does, but offering it to Krishna. So that's called bhakti, devotion. There's 9 processes, and if you see the way that a Christian is serving Jesus, it's the same. Yeah.
And that makes sense. And if we summed up all religions, to me it seems like, and especially after hearing you speak of all these different religions and tying them all together, what I'm hearing is that all religions basically boil down to one thing, which is live with a pure heart. Would you say that?
Yeah, and the reason we are practicing spiritual principles is to become self and God realized. We're not talking about belief. Again, my guru used to say, belief, sentiment, and sentiment becomes fanaticism. Look around the world. Yeah, even in our own country. Yeah. So we're talking about the science of self and God realization. We're talking that in this very body, you can become self-realized and God realized. In this body, God will appear to you if you follow the process. So that's the deal. If you practice this bhakti, you don't have to go and be a monk. You can do it in your own house.
Was my next question. I was going to say, so how it sounds like that we could do this and not necessarily have to go.
So there's 9 processes in bhakti. 9. I may not be able to remember them all off of the top, but the first one, hearing. First you hear about God. Then you chant about God. Automatically you'll remember God. You do some service to God. You befriend God. You do worship of God. and ultimately completely surrender. And my guru used to give a great example. The monkey carries the little monkey on its back.
Mm-hmm.
So very easy to drop the little monkey. The cat puts the little kitten in its mouth, the same mouth that's torn up the rat. The kitten has so much faith in the mother, just completely surrenders to the mother. So we got that saying, let go, let God.
Mm-hmm.
If you actually, at the very end of the Bhagavad Gita, which means the Song of God, Lord Krishna, God says, give up all varieties of religiosity. Do not fear. I will protect you from all karmic reaction. So if you truly surrender to God, God has promised you'll be taken care of. Absolutely. And there are saints in my tradition. There's one great saint, his name was Madhavendra Puri. And he's in the temple watching the ceremony. And he's simply thinking in his head, this temple was famous for making sweet rice to offer to Krishna. So he's just thinking in his head, I'd love to taste that, just to offer it to my Krishna in my temple. Oh, he thought he was such a bad person. He immediately left the temple, went to go sit in the marketplace. Meanwhile, Krishna appears in dream to the priest, and he tells him, behind my form as the deity is a pot of sweet rice. I've saved it for Madhavendra Puri. Go find him and give him the sweet rice. So amazing. Yeah. So of course he's so humble, he leaves the next day because he's going to become famous. So many times in our tradition, God has appeared personally to these great saints because they haven't been eating. They haven't even been taking care of their body with food. They got that much surrender to God. God comes to them.
And that's how they're getting their sustenance or their energy.
Their
or
whole
their
being, the whole being. See, God is all attractive. We don't realize. Everything we're looking for in this world actually is in God. Mm-hmm. They give a great example of two birds in a tree. The one bird is trying to enjoy all the fruit of the tree, not knowing that the real pleasure is with the other bird in a loving relationship. So we're going through this world, many different lives, looking for the one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, not in this world. We're all fallible, right? Mm-hmm. You get a one, he thinks they're a great guy, and then all of a sudden, he's got this habit. He's only human.
Yeah, how many times have you guys said that to me?
So my own advice to everybody, especially your viewers who have obviously got some spiritual interest.
Yes.
We all need some kind of love and partnership.
We do.
You got to find that person who's on your level. Mm-hmm. And how do you do that? Just do it through the astrology.
I agree with you. There have been times, and you know I trust it, right?
Yeah.
Where I've had some red flags. This was many, many years ago. I'll never forget this. And yeah, Pamela, both of you two, this one is not a really, he's going to leave you with an owie. There's this, there's that. And there was such great chemistry.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I totally agreed with you and I trust wholeheartedly. And I got on the phone as soon as I left. Yeah, this isn't going to work anymore. Not going to work anymore because it all makes sense and it all does connect.
Yeah.
And not that we should all live our life, right, to what somebody else says or what anyone does. It's more about when you look at the big picture and you look at everything, and it's really what you feel in your heart, for the viewers themselves too, what you should do in terms of how you should proceed. Because we're all here to learn our life lessons, what I write about in my book, right? So we're going to be placed in all these experiences to help us do that because we always have a choice. We always have a
choice.
We always have an opportunity to do things differently.
And the more our consciousness becomes purified, the better we will even act in the material world. Yeah, when you act in a pure... I saw my guru. He was being directly shown the way by God within. Every move he made as far as a human being, I've never met a more perfect being than my guru. He was absolutely in every way. So he is doing that because he, the soul, is completely connected with the all-pervasive aspect of God. God is with us right now in every atom, between the spaces of the atoms, and we just got to surrender to it, and everything will be just fine.
Speaking of being pure, is there a time in the place of the ascension ladder, if you will, where you are so pure you could actually manifest something tangible from nothing?
As we saw with Jesus, right?
Mm-hmm.
It turns the water into wine. The ultimate, we were talking about this on another show, but there are what we all have mystic cities. We all have magical gifts dormant in our being. And they're called cities, perfections. And all those perfections that Lord Jesus showed, walking on the water, again, the highest of all the cities is bringing somebody back from the dead. Jesus manifested the highest perfection when he brought Lazarus back from the dead. So we do know that Jesus spent, we know this from the histories of India, that between 12 and 30, when we don't hear about him, he's in India. And he perfected those mystic cities. But today you can still, I told you the story earlier, my guru's father used to like to entertain the yogis. So this yogi came for lunch, and he was very partial to mango. But it was out of season. Mangoes were out of season. He's not carrying anything because he's just got this little coping around his middle. So he says, give me some time in one of your spare rooms. So he goes in the room and he comes out with a whole thing of mangoes. He astrally projected and picked them where they were ripe.
When people talk about portals and different things, and so it sounds like what I'm hearing is you can access that by purifying your mind, your body, your soul, to be able to tap into those portals, if you will, or those energy spots, to be able to literally pull something tangible from nothing.
Yeah, there's two types. There's two yogas called Siddha Yoga and Kundalini.
Mm-hmm.
I don't recommend in this day and age anyone practice Kundalini because, we all have Mother Nature coiled up at the base of our spine. It's the power of nature is in the base of our spine, dormant. Kundalini. This is the goddess. This is Mother Nature herself. So all the power of nature is within you. So Kundalini yogis, you have to have a Kundalini guru even to contemplate doing this. They awaken that energy. But when you awake the energy, you've got to get it into the channel called Sushumna, which is actually the Milky Way in your body.
Mm-hmm.
So simultaneously that the yogi is traveling, opening up the chakras in the Kundalini, traveling in the universe, higher planets. There are higher planets, higher realms. So each one of those chakras represent a higher realm than the earth. When the yogi gets beyond the throat chakra, goes beyond time. That's why we talk about the third eye. At that point, the yogis beyond time can see past, present, and future. So a yogi in India can meet Connie, Smock, know everything about you. Crazy.
That is.
Yeah, and I did tell you, every 12 years in India, there's a spiritual festival. Millions of people come from all over the world now. It's called Kumbh Mela. It's a particular astrological time. And there's 3 rivers, Ganges, Saraswati, and Jamuna. Saraswati is actually invisible, it's still there. But if you bathe in the Ganges at that particular astrological moment, you are going to be spiritually, what do we say? You're going to spiritually transcend at the time of death. You don't have to come back just by doing that one act.
I suppose I have a lot of traveling in my future.
So this is the honest truth. This was an American guy, but he'd gone to India and become a Swami. He's sitting on the beach of the Ganges there. You see, oh my God, it looks like a meteor. This ball of light, boom, lands on the sand. It was a yogi.
I'm in. No plane fare.
Yeah,
you have to wait in line.
That would be a great, wouldn't it? Another thing they say they do, they're in the Himalayas meditating. They're not going to go hundreds of miles journey to Allahabad. They go under the water, they chant a mantra, and the mantra transports them to the spot.
That will be in the next episode. We're gonna be doing that, traveling to different areas around the world. Just kidding. That might be like the 100th episode. We'll see. And we need many more lessons before that one.
You do it at the time of your death when a good
point.
When
your soul goes.
Yeah, when the soul leaves the body, you leave in your astral body. True. The astral body, according to the yogis, is made of mind, intellect, and false ego. So mind is a subtle substance, intellect is a subtle substance, false ego, all the material concepts you have of yourself create this astral body, which actually is the cause of your physical body. It's your astral body that's the cause of the physical. So at the time of death, and when you go to sleep at night and you dream, you're traveling in your astral body. So that's all the yogi does. That's right. The silver cord. Everyone's heard of the silver cord. It's in different cultures. It's like the umbilical. Yeah. So when that breaks, you can't get back in.
Well, I better get some duct tape and everything else. Make sure mine is really strong. I don't know.
So some people you meet, you can see different auras, right? You do this all the time.
Yes, I saw yours. Yes.
So that shows where they're at. Are you at the base chakra?
Yep. Yeah. So much purple that, yes, you're definitely very high above all of the chakras.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yes, you are.
Someday, life.
I think you accomplished that. I consider you my guru.
I've met
on
some
so many
amazing, advanced souls. Yeah, it's not easy to get. In fact, the name Durga, which is a name for Mother Nature, another interpretation of the word Durga is prison house. So this material world is the best prison house. It's not easy to get out.
Yes, that's we definitely want to talk about that in another segment too, about what Earth is. And I love how you explain that with it kind of being like the in-between.
The best descriptions I've ever spiritual literatures of the world in the Vedas, they tell us not just the other planets, they tell us the names of the beings that live on those planets. And in the next life, you can also go there. Yeah, you can also
go to Jupiter on my next one.
Yes, good planet. Yeah,
very.
Because they say Jupiter's the guru of the gods.
See, I knew that's why I was drawn to it. I'm just going to go straight to Jupiter.
Thursday is Jupiter's
one-way ticket.
Here we are.
That's right. Today is Jupiter's day.
I will end with this. Beyond the material, what we would call heaven in the Bible, is Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha means no anxiety, no birth, no death, no old age, no disease. The difference between, and it's the eternal spiritual world. And actually, Vaikuntha pervades everywhere because spirit is everywhere. So if you don't want to get born again, get old, get disease and old age, and death, then you got to go to Vaikuntha. And having once gone to Vaikuntha, you never come back. You don't have to take birth again. You'll never come back.
I'm in. Sign me up.
So Jupiter, you got to come back.
Beam me up, Scotty. All right.
Well, you may be for thousands of years, but then you got to take birth again.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll have to rethink that one. We'll see. Well, again, this was such a great honor because you are, again, one of my many mentors, and your sage advice is beyond compare.
And all I say is it's all the mercy of the Guru. Everything is the Guru is the mercy of the Guru. I'm trying to think this very, very great quote. By the mercy of the Guru, the dumb man can speak perfect poetry. By the mercy of the Guru, the blind man can see stars in the sky. By the mercy of the Guru, the lame man can climb a mountain. Anything I've forgotten? Oh, and the deaf man can hear the most beautiful sounds. The Guru is unlimitedly merciful. If he's the real deal, and you'll get the best knowledge.
All right. Well, that is awesome. And thank you. I can't wait for the next one when we also interview Pamela with the mediumship and also astrology, and continue more with you, because I still have so many more questions. We could go on for days.
The
Okay.
stuff that girl has
days.
experienced psychically is amazing. Pamela, I've witnessed it.
So thank you again. And how can people reach you if they want to get an astrological reading, which I highly recommend, because it does give you a lot of insight into why you're here and how can you overcome some difficulties and see some difficulties ahead of time based on your chart. So how can people get hold of you to be able to do that?
So we're of the older generation. We prefer to speak to people personally.
Love it.
And we're in Grosse Pointe, Michigan. Okay. We can also do, phone readings. We're very reasonable. Even if somebody comes to the house or even by phone, they can spend half the time with Pamela, half with me for the fee. And we both do different things. Both do astrology. Pamela is a psychic medium. She does the tarot. I do an ancient technique from India called the Brigu Yantra, which is predictive. I do the palm, and we both do astrology together. So it's and we always, in India they say you should charge neither too much nor too little. So that's what we try to do. The fee's reasonable.
It is very reasonable, especially for what you guys give your heart and soul. And I've been seeing you for many, many years for my astrological readings and my charts and different things. So yes, I highly recommend it.
A chart's a lot of fun.
They are a lot of fun. So make sure you. Mine is a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
Wow, really?
Fun. It shows in the chart. You're lots of fun.
I mean, I don't want to brag, but but the charts don't lie.
That's right.
I'm just kidding. Well, thank you again, Robert, and I can't wait for the next one.
And congratulations with your new book.
Thank you so much.
So good.
Yes, my new book. Please.
That's it.
Here we go. It is Shift Your Energy, Change Your Life. Which
very well written.
We talk about. Thank you
very
so much.
Well written.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Until the next one.
Om Tat Sat.
What's this? What is this?
That's
hang on a second.
Completing the show.
This. Is it? Let's do this.
Om Tat Sat.
Set. Om Tat Sat.
Yeah.
We may have to do that every time now.
Yeah, you can do it.
I love it. Thank you.
Om Tat Sat.